Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Medical Classes by Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and also give your valuable comments. Friends, today we will discuss one more very important and hot topic in Ayurveda. It is applied aspects of procuring a healthy progeny through Ayurveda. Now, procuring a healthy progeny is nowadays a new challenge due to variation in the lifestyle, due to variation in the dietetic habits, and due to mechanical lifestyle. You could increase the stress factor and also decrease the moral values and loss of faith in some of the religious activities and previous older traditions. Procuring a healthy progeny is nowadays a big challenge. And it is also our need of the day also. Because as the couples are not interested in multiple kids nowadays, and they want to limit their kids to one or two due to increased awareness about this population and all. So they always aim to have one or two kids with the optimum qualities or healthy progenies. So hence, this topic is one of the hot discussion nowadays. Now, how to procure a healthy progeny through Ayurveda? So, in this context, we will going to discuss some of the important aspects. So, they include Putreshti Yajna or Putreshti Samskara, Pumsmana Karma, Simanta Unnayana Samskara, concept of Shadbhavas, then Dauruda Upachara, then Masana Masika Garbhavruddhi, and Garbhini Parichari also. Then Jataharani, concept of Jataharani and its role in causing intrauterine infections. Then organogenesis, teratogenesis, fetal circulation to some extent, and Upashushka. These are some of the important topics that we will going to cover in future slides. Anyway. Now, the process of getting a healthy progeny is a long and planned process. It is not a short-term process. Okay, if the couples are planning for having a healthy progeny after the formation of the zygote, and it is not the right way. Okay, because the process had to start from the puberty period itself. Once the child gets into the period of adolescence, from there only the process of procuring a healthy progeny starts. Okay, so as per Indian philosophy and also as per Ayurveda, marriage is not only for the sexual enjoyment. Marriage is for getting Uttama Santana Prapti. This is the aim. It is not for sexual gratification or it is not for sexual enjoyment or luxurious life or show off like that. So marriage is not even an agreement. Okay, so the agreement based on the economical, social aspects, etc. It is not even an agreement, and it is not also a compromisation. Okay, so marriage is a ritual process, which is aimed to a very good intention. So that is procuring a very good progeny, healthy progeny. That itself is the aim. Okay, so now all the effort should be done for the same. Now we have to see what do you mean by healthy. Healthy progeny means what? Healthy means he should be physically well, good health, then psychological health, moral health, genetic health. Okay, these are the five important aspects. Socially, the child should be very, very healthy, social behavior and all. Then genetic backup. So that is very important. The child has to have a very, very good, healthy genetic material so that in future it can be inherited to the next offspring. And similarly, physical health is important, psychological health is important. So combination of all these things leads to a healthy progeny. So anyway, as I told earlier, the process should start from the puberty itself. Now, okay, process start from the puberty period itself. One of the important aspects which is mentioned in our classes, that is the Godhana Samskara. Godhana Samskara is not actually mentioned in the Ayurvedic text. It is mentioned in Hindu religious books. The books like Hindu Dharmasana or Dharma Sindhu Sana. So that mentions about this Godhana Samskara. The Godhana Samskara, the concept is very simple. Usually it is performed on the 16th year of the age for the male. Of course, for the female, particular age is not mentioned, but it is also done in female. So what we have to do, for the first time, the pubic hair and as well as the axillary hair and also the facial hair of the male child will be shaved and that will be buried in the southeast direction. This is the procedure, the religious procedure. Okay, so this is the procedure. And during that time, a small social function will be also conducted, and so many guests will be invited, learned scholars will be invited, and go, that is cow will be given as donation, godhana, therefore it is called as godhana samskara. A similar kind of function is also performed when a female, that means a girl, when she attains the menarche. This is even practiced in nowadays also. In the village area, even today also, this practice is there. So as soon as the girl getting into the stage of menarche and started with the menstruation, and as a token of joy and enjoyment, so usually this particular a social function will be performed. And usually female, mature females only invited for that function. And the intention is very clear. This learned multi-para female, so they will give some tips to this girl that how in future she has to behave, she has to manage her health, and she has to be socially how she should have to behave and move. And all these tips will be given by this multi-para, the experienced females to this girl. Anyway, so this samskara now, it has got some important aims. This samskara is performed at the age of 16 years. Of course, in different, some other books it is mentioned quite earlier. Okay, anyway, this samskara is done. And the main intention is the declaration of the puberty. Okay, so the declaration of the puberty means once you perform this godhana samskara, that suggests that this girl or this boy has attained puberty. If this samskara is not done, it indirectly tells that yes, there is some problem with this kid, and he is not attained puberty, and essential steps have been advised. Okay, so this is one of the declaration of the pregnancy. Puberty. Second one is this is a self-awareness or sensitizing program for the adolescent girl and adolescent boy. Okay, so that means, so once he attains the puberty or adolescence period, adolescence period is a period where hormonal hijack is there. Everything will be hijacked by the hormones. Okay, because of hormonal influence, the individual has got tremendous energy, curiosity, then experiencing quality, then aggression, temperament. Everything will be at high level. So he now witnesses some of the physical, psychological and changes and social changes also. Now he is no more listening to the parents. This is the period where he is under the tremendous peer pressure. He want to build up the new relationships. Okay, and he or she develop an intense interest towards the opposite sex. So very sensitive period. Okay, this period has to be guided properly by the parents or maybe the physician or any relatives. Okay, and this period, the child should be treated, adolescent should be treated just like a friend, not like the kid. Okay, as Chanakya says, Putram Mitravat Achari. Okay, so because only that type of mentality will matches for this adolescence period. And if you show the strict behavior or disciplined behavior, and this is not that age, there will be a lot of friction between the family members and these adolescents, often seen in every families. The only thing is we have to change our mentality and we have to behave like a friend with the adolescents. So what I mean to say is Godhana Samskara is a sensitizing program. Okay, this gives the awareness to the parents also that we have to change our mentality, and this also gives the awareness to the adolescent also that we have now few responsibilities and I cannot be so childish now, and I have attained the puberty and I have got some responsibilities, and I have to maintain my health, and all this self-awareness sensitization will be given. So this may be done by the parents, relatives, or sometimes physician or some other experts. Okay, so this is very important. If this is somewhat correlate with the concept of sex education, which is mentioned in the Western classics. Okay, Western classics will give more importance for the Western world will give more importance for the sex education, and it is practiced. But Indian philosophy in India also, Indian system also, so we have got tremendous, a very beautiful concept of sexual education, which is given in the name of Godhana samskara. If you go into the details of Godhana samskara, it is nothing but it is a primary sexual education to the adolescents, how they have to behave and how they have to move in the society, how they have to maintain a distance, okay, distance from the opposite sex, and how they have to carry on, and how they have to utilize, channelize their tremendous energy, and everything will be Godhana Samskara given the opportunity to make these things aware of all these things to the adolescent boy and girl. So one of the beautiful concepts mentioned in Godhana Samskara. So this is the first step in attaining a healthy progeny. Okay, so if proper sex education was given or the samskara was done and properly the adolescents were guided, then they will not commit some of the silly mistakes which may lead to a very, very miserable life in future. They may not have any illegal sexual relationship or illegal sexual practices, or they may not be the victim of some of the bad habits, and they may not waste their tremendous energy. And most of the times the adolescence period anemia is very common. Okay, because we are less worried about the nutrition in the adolescence period. Anemia is most common problem. And in India, suicide is one of the most common problem in leading cause of death in adolescence period. It's very shocking to see. Road accidents, they're the second most common leading cause. Why this is happening? Because they are spoiling their life. Okay, so problem is when they attain the adolescence, we are not able to guide them. Okay, we are failing to guide them. So they are under the influence of some. They are not guided by the parents, rather they will be influenced by the media, social media, electronic media, and this is a period of experimentation. They tried curiosity, so there may be lot of chances, many chances of missing the track. So Godhana Samskara give a warning to the parents and also give the warning to the adolescents so that they should not miss the track. Anyway, so this can be considered as the first step in the getting a good progeny. The process starts from here itself. Okay, process starts from the here itself. Next, another one is Upanayana Samskara. Okay, so Upanayana Samskara is also done at the time of induction of the boy or child to the Gurukula. That is starting of the education in a particular professional field. So that Upanayana Samskara also, we teach so many moral values to the kid. So how he has to behave in the society, and what are the responsibilities, so how he has to behave with the elders, and how he has to follow a regular lifestyle, that is brahmacharya. He has to follow what is the importance of getting early in the morning, and what is the importance of maintaining a schedule in the daily routine, and what are the importance of following Sadvrutta, Dashavida Papa should be avoided. All these things has been given. This moral education will be given in Upanayana Samskara. And he will be completely motivated towards getting the knowledge rather than wasting this tremendous time of adolescence period. So this is another important thing. Of course, some of the books also says about Upanayana Samskara was also conducted in olden days for the females also, but in Ayurveda we do not get in such incidents. So of course, for the Upanayana Samskara there is no caste bar. Okay, because Shruta very clearly says Shudram api kula guna sampannam upanayanam kartumarhati. Okay, so there is no caste bar. Anyway, but about the females it is not mentioned, but for the male, okay, so this is another step, so that adolescence period, so he can maintain his healthy lifestyle and health, psychological, physical, social, moral, everything, so that in future, so he can produce a very good offspring. Okay, so health has to be maintained. That's important, isn't it? So therefore, of course, Upanayana Samskara has got multiple benefits. I am focusing only one benefit of Upanayana Samskara. Okay, when child will be there under guidance of a very knowledgeable guru, so mostly he will not deviate into the other aspects like sex and the undue interest in the opposite sex and bad habits and all those things. In previous days I am talking. So that's one issue. Okay. Now, one more important thing which helps to procure the healthy progeny is, again, so we have to start this important thing in the adolescence period itself. That is Rajaswala Paricharya and Rutumati Paricharya. So this is the guidelines which is given for a menstruating girl and also a menstruating girl. Okay, so this Rajaswala Paricharya and Rutumati Paricharya, so both are for females. Okay, girls. Now, what is the importance of, first we'll see Rutumati Paricharya. So Rutumati, actually this period of Rutumati period, so that actually corresponds to the ovulation period. Okay, so ovulation period is where the ovulation takes place and oocytes will be released. So ovum is released, it's captured by the fimria and taken into the uterus, and then endometrium will prepare accordingly, uterine endometrium, and the things will take place. Now, important thing is ovulation. When ovulation is taking place, it is not only one oocyte which is start proliferating. We know that in single ovulation cycle, usually 10-15 oocytes will start proliferating, out of which one will be get proliferated to complete extent and forms the Graafian follicle, and from there the ovum will be liberated. Now, what I mean to say is, this is a time where the oocytes, which are going to produce the future embryos or zygote, whatever you say, and they will be stimulated to some extent. So during the time of each and every ovulation, that means whole ovary is shaken once. Okay, although only one ovum will be shut off in the end, but whole ovary will be get stimulated. It will be under the hormonal pressure at that time. So it's the period where you have to take the ovulation care. I mean to say that the genetic material which is present inside the oocyte, okay, which is present inside the ovary, so that will going to decide the future health of the future zygote. We know that. Okay. Now this particular oocytes which are present, they undergo secondary meiosis division in the last part, and then they will develop into the mature ovum, and then it will shut off. Okay. Now, because of our abnormal lifestyle, mechanical lifestyle, stressful lifestyle, and the chemicals, toxins, what we take, these oocytes which are present inside the ovary, actually they are continuously exposed to all these stress, mechanical stress, chemical stress, toxic, and other psychological stress, everything. So we are not observing it. It is continuously exposed. So when they experience such a continuous this stress factor due to various aspects, so there is every possibility that some genetic change can take place in the oocytes which are present inside. Okay, so these oocytes may have some mutation changes, or sometime during the time of the secondary meiosis, they may behave very differently, and there may be trisomies, etc. Okay, so this possibility is there. So by keeping all these things in mind, Ayurveda says that during the time of the ovulation, maximum care has to be taken to minimize the stress effect or any other mechanical, chemical, toxic, or any dietic or any other psychological effects on the oocytes which are present in the ovum, because they are the future one which forms the future zygote, and that has to be protected well. And for this reason, Ayurveda mentions Rutucharya, that means Rutumati Paricharya. There are certain rules and regulations has been formulated so that every lady who undergo, that means after completion of puberty, when she start menstruation and all, every girl, pubescent girl, so she has to follow the rules and regulations of Rutumati Paricharya. If you follow the Rutumati Paricharya, what happens is the effect, that is chances of fluctuation of the oocyte genetic material, that will be minimized. I will give an example. We know about Down syndrome. We know that Down syndrome is more common with the advanced maternal age. That means after 40 years, if you go for pregnancy, the chance of Down syndrome increases too much. Okay. Do you think why this is happening? The reason is very simple again. So when you decide to go for a baby after 40 years, till 40 years, starting from the adolescence period, the oocytes which are present in your ovary, they are continuously subjected to the mechanical, chemical, toxic, and other psychological stress factor every day, every minute. And this may lead to some of the genetic changes in future. And this is what exactly happening in case of Down syndrome. In Down syndrome, during the time of the secondary meiosis division, okay, the redistribution of the chromosomes takes place, and that time, there is no proper formation of the chromosomal pads. Instead of 2, P and Q, there will be one more body coming, and that leads to trisomy. There will be 3 bodies. Okay. Similarly, some of the other problems are deletion. or disconjunction, then fragileness. These are all the different chromosomal anomalies which take place during this time. Okay, so why this is happening? Because your oocytes, which contain the genetic materials, they are continuously exposed to the chemical, physical, and other forms of the pressure or stress, and that brings the silent genetic changes, and that leads to Down syndrome, which is very common. So by keeping all these things in mind, Ayurveda beautifully mentioned the Rutumati Paricharya has to be followed in each and every cycle. The purpose is very simple: minimize the stress factors to the oocytes and ovary. So different rules and regulations are maintained that we will discuss, mention, like dietetic rules and regulations, then ahara, vihara, achara, regimens, and how she should sleep, how she should spend the time, and everything is mentioned. She should be given complete rest. She should not expose to the external environment like radiations and all. Many very beautifully it is explained. That we will see in next few slides. Similarly, so this is one of the methods to get the healthy progeny. If you're not able to if you're not following the Rutumati Paricharya, then again, if you think that I will going to get a good progeny or healthy progeny, so it is something looks impossible. Okay, this has to be taken. Now, if we say, if I talk about 30 years back in the village area, this particular Rutumati Paricharya and as well as Rajaswala Paricharya that we will discuss, both are very strictly followed. In 1980s, I have seen in villages. But as the time passes with the growing modernization and all those things, this beautiful tradition has been disappearing now. Okay, I personally know that the ladies were given absolute 3 days or 4 days of rest during this menstrual period. Absolute rest. They are not allowed to go outside the body, outside the home also. Okay, even same care is also given in Rutumati Paricharya, Rutumati period also, in the mid period of the cycle, menstrual cycle. So, but that particular tradition has been slowly disappearing now, and the result is obviously seen, that we are getting different kind of genetic problems, different kind of this autism and so many things, and ADHD. Such that means such incidents are increasing. Anyway, so now we'll discuss Rutumati Paricharya is over. Rajaswala Paricharya. This is another type of Paricharya that an adolescent girl should follow, starting from the first menstrual period. Okay, still she is menstruating. What is it? This is the Paricharya. That means rules and regulations or regimen that has to be followed during the 4 days of menstrual flow. Okay, so first one is at the time of the ovulation care. Second one is menstrual flow. At the time of the menstrual flow, 4 or 5 days, the menstrual flow, she will be subjected to some of the strict rules and regulations. Okay, so again, the concept is very clear. During the Rajaswala Paricharya, number one is there will be blood loss, and she will be having anemia, and she may be having tiredness and all those things. It's quite common. To reduce her tiredness, and absolute rest will be given. She is not allowed to touch anything. That means she will be given complete rest. Number two, she is also isolated from the others. Now, because the reason is simply during the Rajaswala period, the female vaginal tract will be very fragile and delicate, and it is subject to it is vulnerable to many of the infections. Okay, so to prevent that, she will be completely isolated from the others. She will be given in a separate room, and there she is not taking food with the others. Okay, separately she has to cook, and separately she has to eat, and isolation will be completely maintained. So purpose is very clear, although it looks little crude in a village setup. The purpose is very clear. So female vaginal tract, that has to be protected from different types of infections. We know that torch infections and so many other infections, intrauterine infections, they're quite dangerous in the future days if she is get affected. Then similarly, tuberculosis-like infections, endometrial tuberculosis, these are deadly problems for the reproducing women. Anyway, so therefore, even the Rajaswala Paricharya is mentioned, and separate rules and regulation is mentioned during the Rajaswala Paricharya. It is also because of a hormonal problem, estrogen, progesterone, and luteinizing hormone, follicular stimulating hormone. So much of hormonal influence will be there. So to protect the body from such hormonal influences, especially on the ovum, ovary, and other vaginal tract, as a whole vaginal tract. So we need to follow the Rajaswala Paricharya. So this also helps to protect the reproductory health of the girl, so that in future, so there will not be any problem for getting in a healthy progeny. This is one important thing that you have to follow. Now, as far as male is concerned, for the male, as far as male is concerned, we have a different set of rules and regulations. Male should be followed the Naishtiki and the Vaivahika Brahmacharya. Okay, this is, of course, this can be followed with the female also. Naishtiki Brahmacharya should be followed. So that means Naishtiki Brahmacharya means it's a type of celibacy. What is celibacy? That means completely keeping a distance from an opposite sex. Like if the girl, if it is boy, and if the boy from the girl, and behaving in a very, very respected and socially accepted way with the opposite sex, and not following any of the illegal sexual activities or sexual practices till the marriage, date of marriage, or till the Garbhadana. So this will be explained, and focusing his whole concentration on the study and the social responsibilities. Okay, that means channelizing the whole tremendous energy of the adolescents into the good cause. And that will be explained in terms of Naistik Brahmacharya. So many rules and regulations will be there, and if it follows, it helps to maintain the reproductory health of a male child. Illegal sexual practices, illegal sexual contacts, we know that so many sexually transmitted disorders like AIDS is there, then syphilis is there, so gonorrhea, many of the problems are there, which totally spoils the life of the adolescents in future. Okay, so that is called as Naishtiki Brahmacharya. And another is Vaivahika Brahmacharya. That's a different issue actually. Even after the marriage also, they have to follow some rules and regulations. That's what I'm telling. The marriage is not a matter of for the sexual enjoyment. Okay, so everything as mentioned, even in the Vaivahika Brahmacharya also, they have to do the intercourse in a defined way, in a defined time. Okay, so it's not haphazardous. Okay, so it should not be done irregularly. Every rules and regulations has to be followed for that. That we'll discuss in another class. So this is another important thing that we have to do in the adolescence period, especially to maintain the health of the adolescents, especially in relation to the reproductory health. Okay, so any mistakes or silly mistakes committed in this stage may spoil the whole reproductive life of the adolescents. One more important thing is Revati Jataharani. A very, very special chapter is mentioned in Kashyap Samhita, that is Revati Kalpa Adhyaya. What mean by Revati Kalpa Adhyaya? Revati Kalpa Adhyaya is a very special chapter, big chapter, where he mentioned a Graha, which is also called as Jataharini, by name Revati. Okay, and if you go into the details of this Revati, so Revati will going to kill a adolescent girl, Revati will going to kill a menstruating girl, Revati will going to kill a pregnant lady, the Revati will going to kill newborn babies. Such explanations are given. And now what make this Revati to enter the body? And if you get into the details of that, then it's very clear that it mentions that the lady who is not following the hygiene, the lady who is not following the moral values, the lady or adolescent girl who is not following the sexual hygiene, and ladies who is in contact with many people or multiple partners, ladies who are in contact with many animals who may transmit so many disorders. We know that toxoplasmosis, cytomegalovirus, these are some of the common torch infections which can be caused by some of the pet animals like dog and cat, etc. So anyway, so Revati will going to kill. The message is a adolescent girl or a menstruating girl or a married woman or a pregnant woman, she should not give a scope for the entry of Revati inside the body. That means she has to follow all these rules and regulations. Okay, so now actually I will not go in detail. This Revati chapter gives a very good clear-cut indication of explanation of intrauterine infection, different types of infection. So intrauterine infection. So whole Revati Kalpadhyaya is nothing but prevention of intrauterine infections, and the measures has to be taken to prevent it. The social such a message is very clear there. And of course, the Revati Kalpadhyaya is mentioned in terms of just like a story, some mythological explanations are there. But if you look into the scientific understanding of that, it's very clear that it is prevention of all such minutest causes of intrauterine infections in a lady starting from adolescent period to pregnant period. Okay, now these start infections, the intrauterine infections even can cause so many problems after the birth to the baby also. Okay, so therefore they mentioned some of the Jataharnis will going to kill the newborn baby on the first day, some will going to kill the newborn on the second day, like this. These Jataharnis are explained. Asadhya Jataharnis, Sadhya Jataharnis, and curable Jataharnis, many are mentioned. Okay, what is the cause for the abortion? What are the cause for the stillbirth? Okay, so how these intrauterine causes, infections, can cause the stillbirth, stillborn, then abortions, and many times preterm babies, and repeated abortions. What are the causes? Everything has been very in a detailed way explained in the Revati Kalpadhyaya. And this is nothing but prevention of Jata Harini, of the prevention of Jata Harini, or Jata Harini refers to intrauterine infections. So these are the set of factors which are mentioned in Ayurvedic texts with regard to maintenance of proper reproductive health during the adolescent and puberty period. Okay, and the preparation starts from this point. You have to follow all these rules and regulations, then only you can able to get the good progeny. Otherwise, it is not possible. Otherwise, it is quite impossible. Okay, so this is the first part. This is the first part how we can get into is. Now, so with this, we is completed the first part of this, how to get a healthy progeny. Okay, the second part is process of getting a healthy progeny. It comes in the next part that we will discuss in the next class. Thank you very much for being with me, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel, Medical Classes by Srinidhi Kumar, and also give your valuable comments. With this, we conclude today. Thank you very much.